Hey, Darby. Welcome back
Hello.
on the show.
Hello there. Hello.
Yeah. Tell us who you are, what you do.
I am Darby. I am our agency scale specialist. So anybody and everybody who wants to work with us in some capacity comes through me. I help
Yeah.
them build out their scaling strategy and figure out what needs to happen next.
What I wanted to bring you back on the show and I wanted to kind of talk about what are you seeing because I think a lot of agencies are kind of a little bit worried like last year, and maybe even through COVID. Like I remember in COVID everybody thought the world was going to end. And then everybody's agencies just took off, right? Because of digital. Then every year, every year since, it's kind of changed quite a bit. And this year is obviously dramatically different. So agencies really want to know, what are other agencies saying?
I think the level of uncertainty is really
Mm,
high. I don't think there's a doom and gloom perspective right now, unless you're looking at Facebook ads and other dumb crap like that that's trying to, I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. But anyway,
yeah.
I think just as an agency owner, I think people are just really trying to figure it out. There's just so much moving so quickly that it's really tough to make decisions because you don't want to do something that's going to be antiquated in 3 months, but you don't want to be behind the curve. So it's just trying to navigate things that are changing and moving so quickly just creates a lot of indecision and a lot of uncertainty. And so I think there's a little bit of fear around it, but I don't think people are in fear of losing their businesses or losing their livelihoods or losing their jobs or losing their clients even so much. It's just really staying on top of things when it's just at
Yeah.
breakneck speed.
I feel like, whenever I'm driving home, I turn on all my lights on the Bronco and just lights up the road, right? And so I have a very clear picture of what's in front of me. And then whenever I come across an elk or a deer that's in the road, they see my lights and they literally freeze. And they like literally stand in the road. They don't move because they're like, they have that uncertainty. Is this jackass in this raptor going to hit them? Or is he going to slow up? And they just kind of freeze like a deer in the headlights. And I feel like agencies are the same way where they're uncertain. Should I just jump left or right? But if they stay there, they're going to get hit by this damn idiot going down the road, right? And I think it's just, and I remember going through the same thing. When I started the first agency, the dot bomb was going off, and it was really easy for me because I was small. I didn't, there's no risk for me. I'm like, I'm gonna give it a go. Like I don't have much overhead. I control everything. And then I think like, on the mastermind yesterday, I told, like, you remember what I said to Travis, right? And this is a person that has a multiple 8-figure agency, just monstrous. But he's just so excited and he's so curious and so like innocent. I was like, don't lose your innocence,
Yeah.
right? Because then you can, like, when you think about how big, like, if he started really thinking about how big they are, then they start thinking, well, every decision, am I going to lose everything because of this one decision? Versus me, when I was small, like he still operates as a startup. And like when I was really small, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. I'll go to the right, I'll go to the left. If I mess up, oh well, I'll just redo it. Versus like some people are like, I can't make a decision.
The funny thing is, he's still so excited about his agency, right? Even at their size. And it's not like he's carrying this burden of responsibility to himself, nor his partners, nor his clients, nor his team, because once you get to a certain size or you achieve a certain level of success, there's a burden that comes with that, right? And you have this weight that you carry around that you're operating out of fear a lot of times because you're worried that you, like you said, of losing things, but you don't see any of that in him, and there's just a genuine excitement. And it was funny how he mentioned yesterday, oh, one more thing to add to the list of things that I need to be doing. And it goes back to the AI question. again, with things all moving so quickly, and you've already got this massive list of things that you need to be doing to work on the business and to get yourself out of this and to get yourself out of that. And then you throw this element of AI into the equation, and how you need to be, do you have people on your team focusing on finding new tools and new use cases, and how you're rolling this out as an offer to your clients? And maybe your offer isn't even dialed in to begin with, or maybe you're not even niche down yet and you really don't even have a solid offer because you're trying to do everything to everyone. And then you throw this onto the fire, so it's, whether you're doing, 100 grand a month or $1 million a month, that list is still there. And there's still just a lot of confusion around trying to figure out, where do I invest my energies next? Because what's the next thing that we need to be moving forward and stay ahead of the people that are chasing us?
Well, the beauty about this industry is we all start off at the same place, right? We're all that, that founder slash operator, right? Is kind of like the first level where everything really depends on you. And one of the things that I've found, over the years, or the clearest path to make it toward the top of the mountain, is really understanding a couple things. You have to figure out where you're currently at and really identify what's that bottleneck. Because you talk to agency owners all day long, or let's call them agency founders rather than owners. Because look, if everyone listening, the agency probably owns you right now. You don't own the agency, because you probably wouldn't be listening to the show. You'd be like, and the agency's just sending me money.
I've got it all figured out. I just
right?
enjoy Jason's voice.
So I'm going to start using that terminology. But you have to really kind of identify where you're at, because there's too many agencies that think they have a sales problem, but they really have a marketing problem. Or they think they have a scale problem, but they really have a sales problem. And so, and at each level, right, it's different engines that are turning, right? And that's kind of why we do the attract, convert, scale. These are the three engines that have to work in sync, if that made sense in a car. And then your lights are really kind of, going back to my analogy about in the Bronco, like I can see the road, and I have lights all over the damn Bronco. Like it just lights up everything. Like I could see the deers thinking about it like 90 degrees away from me. So I know exactly, what I'm going to do. And, I think that's really kind of the first step.
That's why I really like the agent, or the founder evolution framework that we've put together recently. And we've kind of talked about this before, and that, your role has to evolve, and I think it's using an evolution framework for this as opposed to a growth framework makes so much sense, because in my mind, growing is just becoming a bigger version of something that's already there. Whereas an evolution it's literally becoming something new and something different. And that's how you as an agency founder have to evolve in your role. You have to stop being the thing or the person you were and become the thing that's necessary, that where the business needs you next. And then that happens again and again. And by really knowing and understanding where you are, but what needs to change and what needs to evolve for you to take that next step is really key in this. Because, and that's where a lot of people get stuck, I think, is because they don't have the ability to see or know what that next phase of evolution looks like. So they get stuck in this little section where they are, and they're trying to make changes out of, just pure guesswork, and it doesn't get them anywhere.
Yeah, there's, most of the people in the industry really kind of judge, and even agency owners judge of going, hey, we're going to help you get over this certain amount of revenue. But a lot of times that's just going to compound, especially if you have the wrong foundation. It's kind of like, I can give you all the materials of building a house, but if I tell you to build the roof first, I mean, that's the dumbest thing, right? Like you got to get the things in the right order. And I think people are really judging things on the different scale. They're like, get over $1 million. Who cares about getting over $1 million if it's going to kill you? Like if you're doing everything and every decision is coming through you, I wouldn't want to get over $1 million. Like I want to get it to a place where There's a lot of times we'll talk to our members and say, look, I don't care if your top line didn't grow. Did your profit grow? Did you get more time? Right? Did you do the stuff that you really loved? If you
Yeah.
do all that, that's the foundation. And then, yes, your top line will grow, your profit will grow. But just focusing on seven figures is really, I think, a mistake.
But it's the low hanging fruit in terms of objective, right? Like that's the thing that is the
Yeah.
flashy, thing you're reaching toward, and it feels like an accomplishment, and it is an accomplishment. There's no doubting that or undermining that. But just like you said, if you're still doing things the same way you did when you were doing half of that, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be miserable. That burden that we talked about a minute ago in terms of the weight you're carrying is going to be massively heavier. So there's a lot of things that need to come with that. It's not just, like you said, just focusing on, hey, let me, now we're $1 million agency. Woohoo. Well, guess what? You're miserable, and you're, and you're struggling. And if you lose one or two of those clients, you're going to be in a shitty situation, and you're going to be even more unhappy. So, it's focusing on the right things is really important.
Yeah. And I think people, we got a couple different really cool workshops coming up. Obviously, we have, the 100K conversion, workshop where I'm going to walk you through really how you can replace yourself in the sales process and really have a process that other people on your team can do and land faster and grow faster. If you guys want to check that out, go to agencymastery360.com/100K. We're doing that in the next couple weeks. And then we have an AI leveraged agency. And I really think, this is going to be really big, and because AI is not going to replace you, but people that leverage AI will. And if your team is just using ChatGPT, you're missing out. Like it is, I was talking to Brian, one of our members, yesterday, and he was telling me about what he's doing, of the things he's able to build for his team to give them superpowers, which is incredible. And think about how we're using, I'm not going to say any tools because it's going to change every week, right? But we're setting up the right foundation for AI of how we can leverage it, not replace our role, but enhance it. That's the exciting part, man. Like it's an amazing gift. But a lot of people are using it the wrong way too.
I mean, people I talk to are kind of doing a lot of the same things. A lot of people are building custom GPTs for each of their clients, which is great. We have custom GPTs for marketing, for sales, for community management, and those are great. But there are not a lot of people doing out of the box things, and those are few and far between. And a lot of people, basic stuff, ideation, brainstorming, but harnessing what's really available to you is difficult because AI fatigue is a real thing. I went to the doctor this week, and I have a serious case of AI fatigue. It turns out a lot of that is due in part to you, but nonetheless, it's
Right.
but just the things that we've been able to change in the last couple of weeks, just from the rabbit hole you've been down, have been awesome. And the funny thing is, to me, so much of it is, again, I like what we're doing in the mastermind. It's kind of shit we already know. And it's kind of just going, hey, dummy, remember this thing that is the simplest form of being direct and getting the messaging across in the right way? Why did we stop doing that?
Yeah.
But then it just takes it a little step beyond. Why don't you kind of share a little bit about just some of the changes we've made in the last couple of weeks with what you've been working on?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to simplifying things, right? Like we, as entrepreneurs and creators and innovators, we can do it for our clients. Like we can see what they're doing, and with clear as day, we can go, hey, you need to go do this. Because why did you create it as 5 steps to get someone's email address? That makes no sense, right? Like, just give you guys all an example. Our goal, when you go to agencymastery.io, shameless plug, right, is to tell you about this amazing community that we have that helps agencies create an agency of their dreams, to get them to over 1 million in EBITDA, to create a place where it doesn't need them for everything and where they can get stuff done. And so we want them to fill out the application so we can talk with them and qualify them. But when I was looking at the page last week, I was like, all right, we got a homepage, goes over, like has multiple call to actions, right? Like literally it's like, look here, look here, look here, look here, right? You don't know where to focus. Then our mastermind page is kind of buried. Then when you go to the mastermind page, it tells you everything about how we do it. And kind of the, like, here's what you get. Like, hang out with some really cool people versus what's the outcome? What's the outcome look like in 60 days, right? Where, the first 60 days, our whole goal for members when they join is to remove, remove some profit leaks and to find money that you're just giving away, right? And then I was like, all right, well, let's focus on what's after the 60 days to about, the 120-day mark. Well, our goal is to remove the bottlenecks. And then after that, how do we get you out of the agency where you're not doing delivery and sales and marketing and all these different things, holding the agency back? And that's where your role evolves. So I was like, we're just going to say that out. We're going to delete our homepage. We're going to make the mastermind page focus on the outcomes that our members are getting and just make it very easy. And be like, do you want this? Or another example with our online forums I told you about. You think about our online forums, and most people's forums, they ask you for their name, email address, phone number, all the contact information first. Well, how's that helpful? I mean, you need that. So I just flipped it. My dyslexic self was like, screw it. We're going to ask questions. Do you own an agency, right? Where are you at in your journey? What's your biggest challenges? And then ask that information we need so we can actually reach out and be like, yeah, we want to talk to you. We can help you out. But it's just making it simple. Got anything to add? Awkward science.
Awkward. I'm sitting here looking at you. All right, Jason, what's next?
Yeah, what's next? Well, I think what's next for everybody is we need to figure out where you need to go. Right? It's kind of like that deer in the road. You're just walking down this road in the dark, waiting for some jackass to come along and just plow into you. And you're just too afraid to make a decision. I think we just need to make a decision as agency founders of going, this is where I want to go. And then realizing where you're at and looking for what's that biggest bottleneck. What's the easiest bottleneck we can solve right now in order to give you back more time so you can focus on the shit that only you can, right? Like I always talk about, the evolution from founder, there's the operator, right? Where a lot of agencies stay. This is where everything depends on you. The next level up is that manager role where, you're managing people, but you're delegating tasks, not outcomes. Right. And so every decision is still going to you. And that's why you're like, I would never want a big agency. That's exactly why I hear everyone go, like, they're at 10 people, they're at the manager level. Everyone's reporting to them. They're like, I can't do 50. That's 5 times the amount of work. But actually, when you get to that, the next role, right, the architect, you start creating systems and layers of approval so people can make decisions without coming to you. And that's the real secret sauce. Right. But you're still making the main strategic decisions. Right. All right. Like I feel like I was at an architect level for a long time at the agency. But then when I got to the CEO level, I set the vision of the agency. I told the team where we're going so they can make decisions without me. I coach and mentored them so they can get better and they can evolve. Everyone needs to evolve. If they don't, they're going to leave, go somewhere else. Right. What needed to be the face of the organization? Yes, you jackasses need to be brands for your company, not just build brands, that are faceless. People want to see people. That's why you listen to this podcast. This is why you watch it, right? Like you see me versus just a logo, and then you actually know I'm real. Well, maybe I'm real. Maybe we figured out this
We've harnessed AI in a whole new way that nobody knows about yet.
I'm like, right? I created this AI avatar of me. Just say stupid shit. Say stuff that doesn't
training the AI to use bad grammar was the key element
Yes,
in getting this
that's
to
right.
seem like real Jason.
Yep. Right. And so you got to get to that role. But like even going back, like I tell people, the first agency, I never made it to the owner, which is the top. This is where you have options because agency is profitable without you. The strategic decisions are getting made without you, right? And so then you could sell if you want, or you just keep getting a nice check. That's when you own it, not when it owns you.
All
So
right.
yeah,
So for someone that's stuck in the operator role right now and they need to evolve to that next layer, what are the things that are usually missing in that space? What should they be focused on, implementing or establishing to
yeah.
allow
So
them
you
to go?
can't. I don't. You can't jump from operator of doing everything to architect. That's just not possible, right? I mean, everything's possible, and I think you can go through these different levels faster or slower. But I think you need to identify what's your genius. What are you really good at? So, like when I look back at mine, I was really good at sales. I was really good at relating to people and talking to people and figuring out what do they need and then helping them. So I was like, all right, I still could design, and I was a good designer. I wasn't a great designer, okay, but I was a great salesperson or consultant. Let's reference that. Like I always hate when I say sales, but I was a great consultant, and so I hired a designer. Now I still had to manage that person, but then I had to eventually learn. Like, and you have to go through these. Like sometimes your first hire or your first couple hires are great, and they're the type of people you don't have to manage, which is amazing because you're a shitty manager. I'm a horrible manager. If I had to manage people, uh, like, right. But you have to go through that. It's like when you're losing weight. You just got to start running, and maybe you're not running for 5 miles straight. Maybe you're running for a quarter mile, and then you're walking, and then you just build those reps. But that's what you need to do. If you're at the operator level, you need to do that. If you're at the manager level, then you need to start thinking about what are the systems you need to put in place in order to do the approval layer. Like for example, the 131 that we always talk about. So when your team always comes to you to solve the biggest problem, do the 131. What's the problem? What are the three things you're thinking about? What do you recommend? You do that enough, they're going to be like, all right, figure it out. Or you tell them as the architect, hey, this is where we're going, dummies. Make a decision of what you think is best, and I'll back you up.
So we hear this a lot. I just heard it on a call this week with a gentleman that he's really in that manager level, and in order for him to get to that next stage and to relinquish a lot of the things he doesn't want to do, he feels like he needs to hire a director of ops or a COO. He feels like that's
No.
the next hire. And we hear this all the time, right? We hear, oh, I just really need someone to run operations for me so I can focus on marketing or so I can focus on sales. But that's usually not the right step. It
No.
seems like the logical progression, but that's a
You,
big jump.
here's the deal with that, right? We don't know the type of person we need to hire. We go, I have all these problems. And this is why people merge with other agencies or they sell agencies for nothing because they're like, I have 1,000 problems and no solutions. I don't know what I need to do. I'll put the problems on you. That's it. If you think about it, right? Versus if they really started figuring out, how do I just focus on the big stuff as the founder? And how do I get rid of the little stuff? That should be your first couple hires to give you more time back in order to evolve. So you can evolve to figure out that operations part and those systems. Hiring someone else to come in to solve your solutions without a clear direction and all that is just a recipe for disaster. And
And
they'll
an
bring in a high powered
expensive
person.
mistake.
Yeah.
So what are some of those roles? What are those that they should be focused on for some of those small problems? What are some examples of the types of hires that would be needed for that?
Well, it depends on, they have to audit their time. So if you basically look at your calendar for the past 2 weeks, take a screenshot of it and see where is all your time going. Are you spending time on $10 and $100 tasks. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're wasting time. It's kind of like I can't remember who came up with this, but let's say you have 2 cups of coffee. I'm holding up 1 cup of coffee, okay? But if you guys cross your eye, you can see 2. And so if you do all the little things, right? Like, so if I put sand in the cup and it filled it out about a quarter of the way, then I put some pebbles in it, filled it up maybe 3/4 of the way, and a little bit more pebbles. And then I took a boulder and I put it in the cup of coffee, it's overflowing. But if you put the boulder in first or a baseball into the cup, it goes down. Then you put the little pebbles in, it's going to form around it, which is going to do perfect. Meaning the whole point of is do the big impact items first. Say no. Like, think of Elon Musk. I'm going to mess it up, but Elon Musk has a design process framework. And I think the first part is get rid of dumb stuff. And then the next part is simplify. The next part is like whatever works is we're going to amplify it, and then we're going to automate it. And so if you think about it that way of going, what's my zone of genius, like that only I can do, going back to the roles of a CEO. So you got to start operating that way, like building those relationships, right? Building where we're actually going, building your brand, not the agency's brand, in order to bring people in, kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk or, what's the Diary of a CEO? He has an agency, amazing brand that he's built over the years. Right. And so that's what you need to do. And, use AI to do some of this stuff. Like, we were experimenting, I'm just going to, like, this podcast comes up pretty quick. So you can do this for the next 2 weeks before it's outdated. But like, if you download Claude on the desktop, it has like a cowork. It can literally go through all your emails and respond for you and categorize those things. Like, think about how, and then once you figure that out for yourself, show your team so then they can get more efficient. Right. Like, it's just, think of the systems. Like, I'm constantly thinking of the framework for you, for Stacy, for the team. How can I get you guys more efficient so you can spend your time talking to these amazing people? Right? Like, that's what we all need to think. So get rid of the $10, $100 task. That's a long ass answer. I should have just said it that way. That was the hook.
That'd be a very short podcast episode.
Cool. Well, did I miss anything that we wanted to cover? I know we didn't even know the agenda, honestly, guys. We just was like, let's do a podcast.
I know. I thought we were going to talk about what we were going to discuss before we started. And then and you're like, and I've been sitting on the porch this morning thinking about what the hell are we going to talk about today? And then you're like, are you ready? I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're almost at 30 minutes, right?
I know.
So,
hopefully it worked out.
30 minutes, under 30 minutes is my goal for the podcast for all of you listening. I think it's a commute or a walk. But look, guys, we're here for you. If you guys ever need anything, you reach out to us. You just got to raise your hand. We have some amazing guests lined up on the podcast. So if you're not subscribed by now, come on, like, hit that little subscribe button. Give us some ratings too. Like, that would help us out. Even though I don't know where you go for the rating, honestly, on Spotify, like, I always get people pitching like, where can I rate you? And I'm like, this is just the ploy to get your little guest on my show. So they'll comment and be like, I love the interview with Darby. Hey, I got this really good person to put on. Like,
but those are AI driven every time. You can tell, you can sniff them out a mile away when you get those emails that says, hey, I especially loved when you did blah, 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 blah. It's so formulaic. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's crazy, but awesome. Well, Darby, thanks for coming back on the show. We'll get you on a lot more and talk about whatever we come up with, whatever we think about. But if you guys ever need any help, go to agencymastery.io. We do have a really cool resource to figure out where in the evolution you are in your role. If you go to agencymastery.ai, that's agencymastery.ai, answer 7 questions, and it will tell you what role you're at and what you need to do to get out of it and go into specific. It's a really cool AI tool that we created. Do that. Until next time, have a swank day.